Okay, good day. Welcome to another lesson. In this lesson, we will be doing the Austin rolls. All right. Now, what are the things we need for the Austin rolls? We need a styrofoam ball. Now, you may wonder, where can you get the styrofoam balls? Styrofoam balls are sold in craft stores, art shops. I also know they sell in some certain supermarkets like Ebano. If you know Ebano, I've seen these styrofoam balls at Ebano before, or any craft shop or art shop. Okay, I of course need fondant. I'm going to cover the surface with fondant. Then definitely I need my wafer paper. That's what I'm going to be using for my Austin rolls. Then I like fast method. I have this paper punch that will be cutting out circles for me. All right. Now, if you have any circular cutter, you can use it, but that usually takes time. So, you can use a circular cutter according to the size of Austin rolls you want to make. All right. Then, of course, a few other things. I need my wire cutter, and my brush, my gum glue, my glue made up of Tylose or CMC or gum trag with water. So about 3 tablespoons water to 1 teaspoon or 2 teaspoons, depending on how thick you want it to be. Okay, so this is Ikeolu Biobaku, your chief host for the Mix and Bake online school and the chief responsibility officer of Mix and Bake. Now, I will start by cutting out my wafer paper, and I'm going to cut out as many as possible. So I'll just cut out rounds. Now, I always tell people whatever excess or leftover pieces of wafer paper you have, don't throw them away. Don't throw them away. Always keep them, because there are things you can do with them. I will see if I will add that as a bonus. I'm not sure yet. On using leftover wafer papers to create a design. All right. So I'm just going to be cutting away. I'll cut as many as possible. Then just watch. I'll be back to start teaching you the Austin rolls. So I'll just keep cutting. So basically, I just cut out as many circles as I want. That's all I need to do. All right, as many circles as I want. So I'm still cutting away. Remember, like I said, I don't throw away leftover pieces. All right. Okay, you can see I've cut quite a number of circles. All right, so the next thing I'm going to be doing is picking my wire. So what I have here is about wire number 18. Now it depends on the size of your ball. You can make a small one. This is just a regular size. So what I'm going to do is cut this into two equal parts with a knife. Okay. So any excess I brush off. Then after that, I cut my wire. I bend a hook with my wire. Okay. And that hook, now I have a flat end and I have an oval end. So I'm going to pass my hook through my oval end. I want the hook to be hooky enough, if there's an English word like that. So I just dig this in. All right, I dig this in, make sure it's straight. If it's not straight, feel free to bring it out and push another one. So I think I have it straight now. So the next thing I'll be doing is I'm going to cover it. Okay, so once I've done this, I'm going to push it into a styrofoam ball. So I have some shortening here. So I'll be rolling this with my rolling pin. That is my fondant, just simple regular fondant, anyone. Now the fondant is going to be used to cover my styrofoam ball. Okay, so I pick up my styrofoam ball, some shortening, gum glue. So I apply sugar glue all over the base because I'm going to cover up. Okay, so I do this. So just try and cover up. Can you see that? So when your hand is a bit sticky, just rub it and try to cover up everywhere as much as possible. Okay? So that's what we're trying to get. So can you see my styrofoam ball? Now I use wire for this. Please, you can use cocktail stick, you can use lollipop stick. It's not compulsory, you must use only wire. Very important. Now after cutting out my circles with my punch, there are some that are not so fully circled, so I'm going to start with those ones for the center. Okay, so basically what you do for the center, you just pick up one circle. Okay, can you see what I'm doing? I hope you can see very clearly. All right, so I'll fold that into two and cut. So basically I start with that, you know. If you can see, I start on one of the lines. I do not, you know, so I end in the center. Do you get me? So, you know, I start, end in the center. So I'm just going to keep going round like that. I'm just going to keep going around like that. Okay. Nothing wrong in placing another one in the center, just a little glue. You can place even in the center of the one you've done before. Now another thing you need is a steamer. You're going to need a steamer. When we start the whole process, it will make more sense when I show you the steamer, because I am going to use the steamer to make the center come into ruffles. Okay, it will all form into ruffles. So right now I just want to fill up my center. So look at this. Note again, I fold one into two, I cut it into half, some gum glue, and I can place even in the center of what I've done before. I hope you can actually see what I'm doing. Okay, so I just keep going, placing this in my center. So what I'm doing is I'm just going round and round, placing these cut up pieces round my top. You know, it may look all scattered right now, but after a while it would make more sense. All right, so I'm just going round and round. Remember, I grab one, I bend or fold into two. Don't overfold so that it doesn't you know. So can you see? So I just try to fix. So I'm just fixing it randomly round right now. So when I'm done, it will make more sense, like I said. Right now it's just looking all funny. Okay, so I'm just going round, round, round. Any free space I get, I can. So can you see the sequence? Any free space I get, I just fix it in. All right. So I'm just going round in circles. All right. Okay, can you see now? Can you see I've been going round and round? Can you see? So I'm going to continue. I just want to remind you again, remember, you bend one or fold one, cut it, the curved side, you know, there's a straight side and there's a curved side. There's a curved side you place out and the straight side in. Can you see that? Okay, so the curved side out. So you know, we keep going round and round like that until we finish. Okay, can you see that? Can you see that? So I'm almost done. Okay, so remember, like half a circle, I fold, glue at the base, the straight side in and the curved side out. So some glue, the straight side in and the curved side out until I finish. So just watch as I finish this. Now you may ask me, how many of this am I going to add? Well, as many as would fill it. I've used quite a number of circles, as many as will fill your center. Okay, can you see I'm almost completing the circle? It's a lot of circles you use. I'm almost completing the circle, and I would also advise, so can you see this space here? So I'm just pushing it in into the spaces left that I haven't done. Okay, so nothing wrong in adding. So I still have some spaces there. So you can see, I mean, if I were to count, I don't think I've used less than 20 circles for this. Okay, can you see that? So I can fill into some spaces before I move on to my next. So I can fill in. I can see some free spaces, so I can just fill in. So any free space I see, I fill in. if I want a very full center. Okay, so you tell me. Okay, I can see one here. I can see another one here. Let me see. Okay, I can feel this one in here. Okay, so really you can keep filling in and filling in until, so you can see what I've been able to achieve. So I can just trim some places. So I mean, I can keep filling. Okay, I've seen somewhere I want to fill in again. I'll just fill in a bit. I think after this two I should be done. So my straight side in, so I'll just fill this in here. Okay, then move and search for another place. Okay, so let me fill this in here. So can you see that? Can you see that? So I have filled the whole top with this semi-circle, straight edge in, curved edge out. So I'll be moving on to the next technique now. Okay, so the next technique now, after filling in the center, I just grab my circle, rough edge inside, some glue at the tip, and I stick it to the, are you following? So that is what I'm going to be doing now. So rough, you have the rough side and the smooth side. So I'm just going to be doing this now. Okay, can you see that? So not to worry, the steam is going to perform the work of frilling the Austin rolls. So right now I just want to be sticking my layers. Okay, so you may ask how many petals. Oh well, I wouldn't bother about how many petals. Just make sure you cover it all. Okay, so when I'm done with it, I'll tell you how many petals I've used. So right now I have 2, 4, 5, so one more, and I will push this in, then end it out. So can you see that? Okay, so that's one layer. So I'm going to be moving on to the second layer now. So I've done the center, then 2, 4, 6 first layer. So I'm going to move on to the second layer, then the third layer. All right, hang on. Okay, can you see how beautiful this is? So I'm going to continue again with my next layer, and same technique, same way. I move on. Okay. Okay, so you can see we're on the second layer now. I've added 1, 2, 3 of my second layer. So I continue. All right. So that's 4 of my second layer. Just adjust if it's not going right? Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So I have 2 more to add. All right. So after this layer, I'm going to do 1 more layer, and then I steam. Okay, so I have my 2nd layer now. So I'm going to be moving on to my 3rd layer. So I can just lay it like this to make it easy for me. All right. So in between, I just start adding my next layer. All right. How many minutes? Oops. So that's my 3rd layer. So I just try to adjust. Okay, so that's like my 3rd layer. Okay, so you can decide to add a bit more if you want. So I'll just to make my end neat, I'll just add some to the end just to make it neat. So I've used up about 3 wafer paper just to get 1 Austin rose, about 3. Okay. Okay, so can you see that my Austin rose is complete? Okay, so in the next lesson, I'm going to be showing you the steaming and the coloring. All right, so for the next segment, I need my steamer. All right, so I place water in my steamer to the maximum point. I don't know if you can see that, to the maximum. Can you see it's already boiling now? Okay, so you put it on and you grab your lovely Austin rose. It's already looking beautiful. Then with the steamer, you will see the magic that happens with it now. The steamer literally changes the whole, idea. It gives it that ruffle look. Okay, it gives it the ruffle look. Can you see that? So can you see the transformation? You can at this point try to, with like a cocktail stick, anyone that's over curves, you can just try to adjust it, right? All right. So you can see the work of the steamer, what it does. So you can see all the curves. Beautiful, isn't it? And that's what the steamer does. You don't need to curve it yourself. Just place the steamer and it curves it. Okay? So you can adjust with your hand or your fingers. Then at this point, we can color. Now there are 2 ways of coloring our Austin rose. Is either we use a airbrush machine or before we start cutting our wafer paper, we would have dusted, we would have dusted it or airbrushed it, okay? Or if you have an airbrush, you can airbrush after you are done. So that's the next thing we're going to do now. We're going to color our Austin rose, all right? So I'll just turn it around for you to see again. Beautiful, isn't it? Okay, so this is my airbrush machine. I don't know if you have one. So it's already plugged, so what I'm going to do is place my color in, cover it, then spray. Isn't that awesome? Can you see the transformation? So this is what the airbrush does to the Austin rose. It colors it. Beautiful. I love it. How about you? All right. So our Austin rose is ready. Okay. Okay, and this is the end of our Austin rose. Please go ahead, practice yours, and let's see what you are able to achieve. I must say it's not such an easy task achieving the Austin rose. It takes time, it takes effort, okay? But practice makes perfect, all right? So remember, you can dust with a soft brush and you can airbrush it, okay? All you need to do is grab a soft brush and dust. Or maybe before you start cutting out your circles, you can spray, you can dust, you can foam it like we did with the other technique we were doing yesterday with our butterfly. So you can apply the foam on the wafer paper, all right? Okay, please go ahead, try yours. This is the end of this lesson. See you in another lesson. Bye-bye. Hello, welcome to another lesson. This is Ikeolu Biobaku, your chief host for the Mix and Bake online school and the chief responsibility officer of Mix and Bake. In this lesson, we will be doing some butterflies, all right? Now, what you need for your butterfly is your butterfly template, and the same way you do butterfly, you can do any pattern, any design, all right? So I also need my wafer paper. Now this wafer paper is the medium size one, the one that is about 0.27 millimeters in thickness, all right? Remember, in the free webinar I gave, I talked about different textures and grammages of wafer paper, all right? So basically, we need wafer paper, we need wire. Wire is not even necessary, depending on the design you want to do. I just want to show you how to do a flying butterfly, all right? So I have two templates here. I'm going to email the templates to you. I have a big one and I have a medium one, okay? Now, basically this is so easy, it's so simple. What you do is you place your wafer paper. Now, your wafer paper has a smooth side and a rough side. So basically I place the rough side down and the smooth side up. That's where I trace on it. Okay, then another thing I need is edible pen. You can get that from any cake shop, edible pen. Or if you know how to use a brush, a thin brush, you can use a very thin brush, something thin. And not, this is not as thin, really thin. If you're good with, using the paintbrush, the thin paintbrush to paint, just dip it in a little bit of color and do that. So basically what I need to do is, I already have some traced out pattern. I just need to, you know, the wafer paper is usually transparent. So what I need to do is just place it on. Now, can you see this? Can you see the what's it called, the pattern, the template? So basically I need to place the template on and then I trace. Very easy, you know, and then I trace. So please zoom on it so people see it. Okay, so basically all I need to do is just trace. So make sure your eyes are sharp enough. So just trace. Okay. So really all I am just doing is copying, tracing, and that's a good thing about my wafer paper. It's quite transparent, so I can trace. Okay. Right here, I'm going to be using my scissors to cut and trace out the butterfly pattern. All right. Okay. So that's what I'm going to do now. Trace, cutting out my butterfly pattern. All right. Okay, apart from, I use my scissors to cut this. So apart from using scissors, I can get a very sharp knife. It can be a very sharp blade or something. Okay, so I just trace it over and cut. Okay, can you see? So I'm using that's just to get something more precise. So I'm using like a base tray. You can use a board or something, whatever you find. Just don't do it on your plain table so you don't mess it up. Okay, so can you see that? Okay, welcome back. So if you can see on my table now, I have all my butterflies cut out. You can cut as many as you want depending on the design. Now I've got this foam pad here. You can use brush, you can use foam. Now I just want to color my wafer paper. All right, basically what this does is just to color. Now this is a foam a sponge pad. All right, I'm sure you know it. You use it to wash in the kitchen, to wash your plates. Now you can either use this, you can use your brush to dust, you can also use an airbrush. Okay, so I just dab and dust. Okay, so I mean, you can use any color of your choice. You can use an airbrush. There's nothing that says you must use this. The reason why I prefer this to brush is that I get to color a larger surface area. Okay, can you see that? So I do that to flies, and of course you can use any color you want, any color. All right, so can you see that we've been able to color all? Can you see how fast using the brush is? We've been able to color all our butterflies. All right, I have my butterfly, so I'm going to be showing you how to create a flying butterfly and a butterfly I'm going to stick to the body of my cake. Now, to create a flying butterfly, you need a wire. This wire is about wire number 24, white. It's important to use white because if you use green, it will show. So, depending on how many butterflies you want to place on your flying butterfly. So, I just want to show you about 1 or 2 and I'll stick the rest to the body. Okay, so I'm just going to cut this into 2, then try to stick it to one corner of my cake. All right, okay, so I pick up my butterfly, I give it a little bend, okay, then some glue, my glue just has tylose, some tylose and water, so a bit of glue, then I stick this to my butterfly. I stick my butterfly to the glue, then I pinch it. So I just create, you know, so can you see that? So I can give it a little bend here and there, all right? And that's my flying butterfly. If I don't want, I can expand it a bit. If I don't want the wire to show at all, of course I come down and create and do something, another one. So a little bit of, is important the glue is not too much, okay? So I place another one here, all right? And I can decide to place the rest on the body of my butterfly. On the body of my cake, okay? So I can, that's the good thing about it. I create that rhythm, the flap, the wings, okay? So I can come here and place the last one. I hope it's in order. Let me look at it myself. Okay, so I place the last one here. Okay, so can you see how easy this is? Then of course I can always add another one here if I don't want, but I mean, if you look from a distance, you see that it's not really seen. Okay, so really that's the end of my butterfly effect. So I can decide to scatter my butterfly around the cake. I can, whatever, be creative, all right? Of course, you've seen other cakes I've done with the wafer paper and butterfly. Okay, so be creative. I can decide to just flap the wing, make it more real, and that will be it, and that's my butterfly, all right? Okay, so Ikeolu Biobaku again. Make sure you go practice. So we've done two things. I've taught you the isomalt, I've taught you the butterfly. Go back, do your own work, and send to the group. See you in another lesson. Bye. Okay, welcome to another lesson. I hope you've been practicing all we have been doing. Now, in this lesson, we will be doing the homemade wafer paper. That means we are mixing wafer paper from the scratch. Now, it doesn't look like the regular wafer paper, but it's lace. It looks cloudy. So I have an example here. Beautiful, isn't it? And it can be colored. This is white, this is lilac, you know. Okay, so we call it homemade wafer paper lace. And these are the items you need. And before I go on, this is Ikeolu Biobaku, your chief host for the Mix and Bake online school. Okay, so it's a simple recipe. All you actually need is cornstarch. Cornstarch. Now, not corn flour. Corn flour is different from cornstarch. You need cornstarch. Water. You need cornstarch. You need water. You need a bit of vegetable oil. Then you need a non-stick frying pan. It's either you get a non-stick frying pan or a wafer paper maker. All right, I mean a wafer maker, a wafer roll maker. You know, those non-stick wafer rolls. Now, it's important. It must be absolutely non-stick, else you will not be able to get it. So it's a very simple recipe that we're going to be mixing. So in this class, we'll just be showing you how to mix. All right. Okay, on the table here, I have my cornstarch and I have my water. Now, for a basic recipe, I need just about 280 ml water, then 25 gram cornstarch. 280 ml water and 25 gram cornstarch. But in this particular recipe, I'm doing half. So I will be using about 140 ml water and 12.5 gram cornstarch. Now, the lighter, you can decide to reduce your cornstarch. The lighter your cornstarch, the lacier your wafer paper looks. So the less your cornstarch, the lacier it looks. So I already have my water here. I'm doing half the recipe. Then my cornstarch. So what I'm just going to do is grab my whisk and mix it all together. Okay, make sure no lumps. All right, make sure I have no lumps. So here we have just 12.5 gram cornstarch and 140 ml water. So the next thing I'm going to be doing now, I'm going to be moving on to my pan, my cooker, where I will be making this spectacular, awesome lace wafer paper. Okay, so you can see right here we have our heat, our fire or heat, and our non-stick frying pan. Remember, it has to be absolutely non-stick. Then I have my vegetable oil here. All right, then I have a paper towel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dip the paper towel inside the vegetable oil like so, and just brush or wet my pan with the vegetable oil. All right, then I have a plain flat plate here that I'll be placing my wafer paper after it's ready. Okay, all right, so this is pretty easy and pretty simple. So make sure you heat it up till it's hot. Okay, and the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to be pouring like a few tablespoons in. All right, make sure you always stir before you do that. Don't add too much. So I'm going to spread it around my, and allow it to cook till it's dry. Can you see that? Can you see that? So you allow it to cook till it's dry. Just spread it around, making sure every corner of your frying pan has it, and wait for it to dry. It's interesting because you might be wondering, wow, is this going to dry at all? Just watch out and see what is going to happen. Okay, so can you see some parts of it is already drying out? So if I pick this with my hand, for example, can you see that? Fantastic, isn't it? So I'm just going to wait for the other part to get dry, then pick it up. Now this is not colored, so the next one I'm going to do like 2 or 3 of this. Then the next one I'm going to color it. So just to show you, you can also color. All right. Okay, so can you see this? All right. Can you see? So I can still feel some wet side, so I can just turn it upside down a bit just to dry up a bit, and my lace is ready. Can you see that? Okay, so I'm just going to grab my plate. I make sure it's dry, and I grab my lace, my wafer paper lace. This can actually last for a very long time. All right, I've had these ones here. This is an old one I did. Can you see? I've had this for a very long time. You can squeeze it and open it up again. All right, so I'm just going to do one more without color. Always make sure you stir, because the cornstarch sort of settles down. So I should always make sure you stir. Then also make sure you rub again with wet paper towel that I've oiled. All right, so again, this goes in. So once you do that, just make sure you spread, and remember, you must make sure the pan is hot before you do all this. So spread it, spread it, spread it around. Make sure you spread it and keep drying, okay? So you can see I have a little hole here, so I can always spread it. I can always spread the soft part to make sure every corner has, all right? You can see the end is already pulling off, all right? So you can increase the heat, reduce it according to how you see it's drying, okay? So you can see I can pull it off from this side. Now I have some parts that are still not yet dry, so I can just turn it over just to make sure I have an even lace effect, okay? Interesting, isn't it? Okay, so this is set now. So I'm going to move this here and just do one more white. As much as possible, try not to, because it's sticking. So what I'm going to do, I usually separate each one with a paper towel. So what I do is I place a paper towel because I still have some wet sides. So I place a paper towel on one, then I place on the other. Okay, so I go through the same thing all over again, making sure I wet this. So this is the last white one I'm going to do. I'm going to color it after this. All right. So in it goes. So like I said, I'm going to put some color in here. You can choose any color you decide depending on your preference, okay? So I showed you a lilac one earlier on. I'm going to grab it again for you to see. So this is a lilac one I did some time ago. That's weeks ago, okay? So, and this is a pink one. All right, so hang on to see what the pink one is going to look like, okay? Okay, so the last white one I'm doing is set. So again, I place tissue over it and I place on top, okay? That's how to preserve it and stop it from sticking. So again, some vegetable oil on my paper towel. Then I have my pink. So some pink, some interesting pink. So I should be able to get like 2 from here. So remember, you can use the help of a spoon or spatula or something. Just make sure it's non-stick, so just to be able to spread it well. Okay. Okay, so this is ready. Can you see that? So be very careful, just because I'm picking it up. I mean, just pick it up at the edge or something. Okay, can you see that? Okay, so another layer of tissue, and I place this. Then my last but not my least, or I don't know, maybe I can get 2 out of this. Remember, always mix. Always mix. Okay, I think 1 should be fine. So always remember to spread. I guess this one, so I have to spread this with my don't worry, it always forms back to its original, it would always form back. So don't be too bothered about if it's looking all scattered in the beginning. It would form back. And of course, if you want it wider, just spread it to the whole pan. All right. Okay, so that's the end of our lace making, our wafer paper lace making. So again, I place over this and I pick it up and place. Now, like I said, you can decide to do something larger by spreading it or adding more to the whole circumference. Okay, so I will just continue doing some more, and watch out for the next class where we will be using these to decorate our cakes. Okay, then see you in another lesson. Bye-bye. Okay, hello, welcome to another lesson. I hope you have been practicing, because sometimes just watching and not doing yours is not good. It's equal to not watching at all, as far as I'm concerned. So it's important you practice. So this is Ikeolu Biobaku, your chief host for the Mix and Bake online school. In this lesson, we are going to be learning how to cover a cake just with wafer paper. Now, you can have a light buttercream or light fondant covering, but the major thing is covering with wafer paper. And you do not use the small wafer paper. You can't achieve it with the A4 wafer paper. So you achieve this with the long A3 sheets, or even bigger than A3 sheets wafer paper. I'm also going to send the details of where you can get this to buy, or I mean, it's not available in Nigeria. I can give you where to order, or if you want to buy from me when my order arrives. All right. Okay, so right here I have a bit less than a 6-inch cake, like about 3 layers. All right. Then I have my sheets of wafer paper here. Okay, can you see? Now basically it's very easy. It's not a big deal at all. What you do is, you have 2 sides of the wafer paper. You have the smooth side and you have the rough side. So the rough side in. So basically what you do is you just place this around it. You already have a smooth layer of buttercream, okay, and then I roll it out again. Now, depending on how high you want it to be, now this is the height of the cake, so let's say we want to do double of the cake, okay? So what I'll do is I can just take some off and trim, or I can make it as high as this. Yes, as a matter of fact, I'm going to leave it as high as this, okay? It's your choice. You can decide to have it. Now the only thing you need to do is inform your customers that it's just a style, and the cake is, let them know the point the cake gets to. So this is my back side, so I'm going to end here. Then I need a little bit of glue to finish up. So I'm going to be okay, so this is the end. So the inside too, I place just a bit of wafer paper and I end it here. Can you see that? So with some glue, I stick it. Okay, now make sure your glue isn't too much. Okay, so basically that's how to go about this. Can you see that? Up to the base top. All right. Okay, so you just try to adjust it. Can you see how smooth it is? All right, can you see how smooth it is? Right. Okay, I actually learned this from a lady called Flo Delis. If you go to her Instagram page, you see that she's always having tall cakes, and you will actually think it is cake that is actually in it. The cake might not just be more than 7 inches or 6 inches high, and she towers the wafer paper. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cover the top. Okay, so what I want to do now is I will trace the top to see the circumference of what I'm going to be covering. All right, so okay, so we're going to be covering the top, so I'm just going to mark the top. So I have about the size I want. So with the scissors, I'm going to cut it. It's interesting how you can actually get so I just want to check just to cover the top actually. So I'm going to cut out a round. So I have a round cut out. So I'm just going to apply some glue here. You can double it if you want, but I'll just use one. So this will be the cover for the top. All right. So some decorations are still going to come on it. So if this is misbehaving, not to worry. We can always cover any parts we don't want to see with okay, so can you see that? I've been able to so I'll just hold it down for a while until it sticks. And here I have my tall cake. I can do some trimmings just to make it neat. Okay. So fantastic, isn't it? So I have my tall cake. Wonderful. Okay, welcome back to this lesson. Remember the gelatin sheets we made? Okay, can you see that? And the lace we made. So now we're going to be using this to decorate our cakes. The lace, the wafer paper lace, do you remember? Okay, so we're going to be using this to decorate our cake. So just hang on there. Okay, so for the gelatin sheet, I'm going to be doing something. I will be using my my punch to cut out circles, okay? So that's to let you know that we can create, you know, anything imaginable using, can you see that? Interesting, isn't it? And see how translucent it is. Okay, so I've been able to cut out a few translucent, can you see that? Interesting, isn't it? This is gelatin sheet. So you know what I want to do now is I'm just going to rub with a little bit of shortening and use some disco dust, they call it. Okay. Because I'm going to be using this to decorate my wafer paper cake. Can you see that? Can you see how it's looking? Look at it on the body of the cake. Fantastic, isn't it? Okay, so that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm just going to do some more. Okay, so I have some gelatin sheets here, and you know, with cake in the new dispensation, cake is actually art now. So I mean, I didn't think up any design I wanted to do, but I will just generally look at this and see what I can create with what I have. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, with a combination of my lace, so what I'm going to do is I'll place one lace, so some glue, one lace, so I'm going to stick this, okay, so some glue here, then my lace, okay, then I'm going to place this pink one in the center of it. Glue works perfect, okay. So I'm going to create this design and stick it here. Fantastic, isn't it? Okay, very unusual design, isn't it? Yeah, that's cake art. So again, the same way, I'm going to come here, some glue, glue again, so I'm going to add this in the center, okay, then add this in the center and glue it all here. Cake is art. Interesting art. Can you see that? Unusual cake. So the rest of my gelatin piece, I'm going to be sticking it randomly. Just hold it up a bit, then leave it, okay? So can you see that? So I'm going to have this round my cake, okay? So can you see this side? So I'm going to turn it the other way and continue. In recent times, cake is a different ball game. Cake usually doesn't look like cake anymore. So these are my gelatin rounds. Okay, so I'll come here too and place some there.